the Truck Show Podcast, live from the SEMA Show in Las Vegas. Presented by Nissan, with support from EGR, Banks, and AMSOIL.
So we're with Mike Koval, who we've talked about on the podcast before. He's one of my friends who's at Ram brand. And so in the realignment of Stellantis, he now is overseeing MOPAR, which is huge. So all the truck, car, Jeep stuff that comes out. So what's that like going from the brand side? Because I feel like you can kind of just go wild over here.
It's a big job.
It is a big job, and I often refer to it as a company within a company. Not only do we manage our own P&L, and I would say most people think that we are neck-breaking performance or innovative accessories, and we are those things. What we forget about sometimes is that we're so much more than that. We actually control parts distribution across North America and more increasingly around the world. You may remember...
You're talking about service parts, right?
Not just service parts. No.
Oil filters. Windshield.
Alternators.
Yeah.
And even post-merger, MOPAR has now become the brand name for all Stellantis OE parts around the world. So a little tip of the cap to the Equity and the Omega M, which is, and by the way, I found there's some people on the MOPAR team who have worked their entire careers, 30, 35, 40 years in MOPAR. Why? They love it. Yeah. They bleed blue. And I could not believe it when I came over from Ram. You know, I think about, so we're responsible for parts distribution and accessories and everything included across North America and increasingly around the world. We handle all technical services operations, right? So we are in the dealerships working to fix problems. We take all customer care activities and so much more. But you know what?
Can you get a drive shaft for my man Lightning's TRX?
I think these are
the logistics is crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, rear windows, because they all keep getting smashed on Rams because the bad guys are taking them. So we need to get some more rear windows in the supply chain.
Yeah.
No joke. I had to wait like 2 months to get a new rear window because people want the TRX so bad.
Yeah, and I own mine. I bought mine. Well, this is the quick funny story if you got a minute.
Yeah.
So I had...
For you, we have all day.
I had a couple TRXs when I was leading Ram.
Yeah.
And the last one, you know, we're supposed to change out about every year or so, give or take. And so it started to come time on my last one, which was a 22 Hydro Blue. I mean, just explosive, so exciting. And so I'm watching the clock tick down, and I know the day's coming. I decide I can't turn it in. So I deflect the emails. They go right into a special folder.
Are there guys with suits and sunglasses come to your office?
Well, so here's what happened. So finally I got a nasty gram from HR, and they basically said, hey, we're going to come tow your TRX. So fine, I'm out there, I'm vacuuming. I get the Cheerios out of the seat for my kid. I'm crying. The dog's barking at me. My wife's like, Mike, why don't you just buy this thing? And I'm like, I can't. Okay. So it's sitting in my driveway right now as we speak next to a fast feedback Scat Pack LB battery electric vehicle. So, by the way, we're back at SEMA. We are back. This is our Super Bowl. I am so excited to be here. 15,000 square feet, 13 modified or concept vehicles here. And what we brought this year, maybe more so than just about any year, is diversity. So we have that 67 GTX Resto mod, which we know is hot right now, with our concept MOPAR E-Crate. And then obviously we can't forget about Ram. I mean, obviously, which is near and dear to my heart. And you can see with just what the 2025 RHO out there, those just amazing graphics. Truck looks amazing. And then this thing, which looks like a combination of something that fell out of the moon. It's like a moon rover / overlander. Yeah. With by the way, there's an Easter egg on there. I don't know if you walked over there.
I haven't seen it. I only saw the photos.
I may wait. Let's see if you notice. Okay. But anyway, the point is the diversity, right? This is what happens when you let our best and brightest engineers and designers. We just lock them in a room. Never say no, and
just feed them.
Just feed them. I don't even feed them. It's just amazing. We're just so thrilled to be back. Honestly, traffic has been amazing. The energy is I don't ever remember it quite like this. This is incredible. But anyway, so the MOPAR is healthy and strong. By the way, just a comment on overall new vehicles. We know, look. Times have been rocky lately, haven't they? Yeah. But this crazy business that we know and love is cyclical. They come and go. By the way, things are getting better. I think we've now grown market share 4 or 5 months sequentially. So that thing will straighten out. And by the way, nobody is rooting harder for new vehicle sales than me on the after
because you have the genuine accessory line.
So as they go, we go, right? Yeah. So it makes my life a lot easier. So we're rooting, and they're starting to come back, and that's great. But we also know that in difficult times, what do our dealers do typically, they defer to fixed ops. They rely on fixed ops for absorption. So the service and parts business is as healthy as ever.
Yep.
And what I really want to talk to you about as we go, this is a journey. I'm here. We can walk, we could talk. The bar might be open, I'm not sure. But the health of MOPAR, the Omega M, is as strong and as healthy as ever. So what we're doing now is, I like to equate it to building a house. I bought some land. I'm starting. The foundation is strong. That's MOPAR. That's the Omega M. I'm starting to put additions on the house. So we just it's kind of a relaunch. We are launching finally our new private label second line of auto parts called B Pro. Now, if you haven't, you may remember Magneti Morelli.
Yeah.
So our
the lighting company.
Yep. So our relationship with Magneti has ended. All good. It was time to move on, and so now we are bringing forward B Pro. On average, 40% below OE. So
I remember you guys talking about this as kind of a sub-brand to MOPAR to get into more of those kind of do-it-yourself consumers and things like that, and it was sort of talked about over the past few years, so that's official now.
It is absolutely official. Now, we're a baby.
Yeah.
I can't even sit up yet. I'm crawling. I'm falling over. So we by the end of this year, we'll have 40 total commodities on the market, hundreds of part numbers. Yeah. And we started the strategic rollout was fast movers first. Spark plugs, oil filters. We're now transitioning into alternators but think about the positioning in the market, 40% below OE. What we're seeing is this inflection. We've hit this inflection point on pricing. We're all consumers, whether you're in the market for a refrigerator, a television, a TRX, or whatever. We know the prices have gotten out of control. And we've seen the inflection point in the aftermarket. What B Pro does is gives our dealers a real tool. They open up the toolbox. No longer there's a stubby pencil in there. There's actually a nice hammer and a screwdriver. Like, we've got tools for so we go after the aftermarket.
Yeah, I was going to say, does this compete against some of the reman people?
Yeah.
And basically you get like an OE quality, lesser price point,
exactly.
But you're not getting some reman from some offshore deal that happened.
This is brand new, high quality, 40% below on average, and now we have a fighting chance. And we can start to hedge against electrification and what that may do to our service business.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that in a minute. That's a whole story in and of itself.
At what point do you step on your own toes?
Well, we have to be very careful. So good news is we have got every widget, IT device possible. So we're watching all of that very closely to make sure we're not cannibalizing. But with the way it's positioned right now, because there are customers who still want OE. They want the best and the precise engineering and the widget that's designed perfectly for their vehicle.
That's me.
And they're willing to pay. And there's a strong equity and warranty and that peace of mind, and that's still there. But there's a whole other market that we're just not in.
Yeah.
And so now we have a fighting chance. I can go after the independent aftermarket. Yeah. I can give you a value proposition. I've got a story. So now I'm going to close that door. Let's walk down the hall because I'm building another addition onto the house. So we are introducing a new e-commerce ecosystem called B Parts. Not to be confused with B Pro, this is called B Parts, which is an established ecosystem. We've established now, it's not forward coming, it's now between our dealers and approved salvage yards. Now hang with me.
Raised eyebrow. You can't see.
Let's say you come in with a 2013 fill in the blank.
Yeah.
I don't have that part in OE because it's out of production. Maybe I don't have it in my B Pro catalog because it's still too early. I have an option for you. And our dealers can go on to Dealer Connect. That's our interface that's been around forever. And they put in your information. And we have a pre-approved, which is why I know it's not complete junk. These are pre-approved, subscribe-based salvage yards that I have another option for you. I call it kind of a last chance.
Sure.
But it's MOPAR providing options for our customers. You never have to leave the family. I have something for you. I may not have OE, I may not have B Pro, but I have one more way that I can keep your vehicle on the road without ever leaving our family.
That's huge.
And the stats show, right? What are we at, 12.6 years now? Almost 13 years now? People are keeping their vehicles longer. We know that. MOPAR has a solution. 6 months warranty on all parts, with the exception of like airbags because of the materials, but 6 month warranty on these salvage parts. What a novel concept.
Yeah, that's great. When do most manufacturers just give up their customer to either the aftermarket or they can't support them because their ecosystem isn't broad enough? You're broadening your ecosystem to capture out to...
That's all. It's about broadening and widening the net. And because we know people are keeping their customers or their vehicles longer, the overall car park is coming down. It's still very healthy, don't get me wrong, but we can't just rely on traditional distribution methods. We've got to broaden our horizon.
Well, and you're dealing with and competing against SEO of people searching for a part who are going to find those salvage yards anyway. Why not do it through your system, have a guarantee on it, and allow them to still find the same part, but have some sort of value proposition behind it, like a warranty?
What a story. Yeah. What a story.
Talk to me about crate engines, because I know you guys have a lot of crates. By the way, pretty soon you're going to be the only place you can get a V8 Hemi at all from this universe. And then now you've got the Hurricane Straight Sixes coming out as a crate engine as well. So there's a lot of options starting to come. And I heard, and you don't have to wink or nod, but one of the beloved Straight Sixes is the Toyota 2JZ, turbocharged Straight Six. Everybody loves, and that engine has the potential for 1,500 horsepower pretty easily. Little Birdie told me that the Hurricane engine has some pretty high horsepower potential, and well, earmuffs, Dave.
Mike is winking and looking in another direction at someone else.
Oh, that's a Dave.
You may have that info.
That's Dave Elshoff. He's the PR guy. So I'm just saying, for people who are worried that the crate engine horsepower option might be going away, that's not the case. There is hope in the future. Is that fair to say?
There's absolutely hope, and I think it gets back to optionality. And one of the things, and forgive me if I repeat myself, but one of the things we're doing that 67 is the e-crate. Not for everybody, right? Not for everybody. A pretty cool solution, but we're not abandoning our core. Yeah. We're not abandoning our core. There's still scalability. There's still many things we can do. I mean, I'm pointing over here because you can't see me through the phone. But this whole half of the footprint is all ICE based tech. Yep. I mean, we're not going to abandon that. We're not going to walk away from that. So, and I can assure you, neither is our investment. I mean, we're in this. We're just going to provide more options. That's all. So that e-crate
choice
solution,
is good.
Choice is good.
And you're in these planning meetings, I would assume, right? Drawing on whiteboarding this stuff. I would imagine saying, what does the next 10 years look like? Yeah. And it was going to be radical change, not you and others. And then it's like, hold on a second, let's weave in some of our ICE back into the tapestry.
There is. To be honest, I'm not surprised. We knew this was going to be a slower adoption. Yeah. And it is. And you've heard many OEMs talk about how they're scaling back, they're dialing back. Look, I think Stellantis is in a great position because we're coming in at the right time. Our BEV offensive really hasn't even started yet. Right. The new LB, the new Charger Daytona is going to be in dealerships by the end of this year. So is the Wagoneer S.
And you got Recon coming out still. You've got
the portfolio is super exciting, but we're not abandoning ICE. We will have solutions. And by the way, so even if you see the true BEV, just industry numbers, right? Yeah. You see the true BEV adoption slowing and plateauing and taking a little longer. If you actually unpack that a little and look at the LEV mix, which includes your 4xe, your plug-in hybrids, that is actually growing.
Well, I think that's the smarter place as a transitional vehicle because you can basically refuel with two different infrastructures, right? And I think the extended range EV we've talked about on the show is brilliant for the same reason. It's I can still get a fast range if I needed to. And if I'm going to charge overnight or a fast charger and I got an hour, I'm eating lunch, then I can charge the battery side. Until we build out infrastructure, those mixed technologies are going to be the way of the future. And, I think hybrid's a really good way of introducing ICE customers to electrification without hitting them in the face with a mandate.
And I'm going to bring this back to after sales in a second, but just another comment because I can't leave RAM. RAM is so when we were developing the business case for the True BEV and the REPB or the REV or whatever you want, that's exactly why we did that. That was intentional. We knew that we had something special that the others didn't have at the time. So, hey, if you're on the coast, if you're in New York, Miami, LA, whatever, BEV is fine. Yeah. But what about deep red? When you're pulling a 15,000-pound trailer across Oklahoma or Texas, right? So we developed this unlimited BEV, that's what we call it. That's the funny thing but that's exactly why we did that. And then obviously you get back to everything our customers know and love about Ram, how comfortable and how quiet, how spacious it is. We have back seats that do front seat things. They're heated, they're cooled, they recline. This is my Ram speech. So let me tie this all back to after sales. So it's all about options. That's the point. What I tell when we get into these conversations, because our dealer partners, rightfully so, if you had your own store, I think there's some concern about how fast and what's going to happen with this adoption. First of all, the adoption's slowing. The ICE car park is still massive. the ICE cars are going to be around for decades.
And you
right?
need service parts for,
Parts. So that's the first. It's just a big, deep breath. And I know it's hard to, and I don't want to, it's not a disrespectful thing, but it's like, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Let's look at this a different way. What opportunities do we have embracing EV? Tires, for one. My tire sales are going to go like this because we're going to wear out all the tires. But let's do this. It's going to take time. Yeah. There's no switch. This is not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a long transition. There will be the need. The ICE car park is massive. It's going to be around forever.
I'm looking at the booth here and seeing the options is awesome, right? I mean, you go, there's something for everybody here. If you wanted to do, some sort of electrification deal, no problem. If you wanted to do the new straight six, no problem. If you want to do a V8, you still have that. There's a range, and you look around the show, there's options everywhere. People are using every type of, there's hybrid cars out there, there's full BEVs out there, there's old school V8s out there, and everything in between.
So maybe we actually ended up where we should have been all along.
It just self-corrected, right?
It's self-corrected. Yeah. It's self-corrected. And I just one final point on the E-Crate, which I think is really neat, if and when, if and when, because it's still conceptual, is I think our solution, the way we're packaging this, and we have 4 total batteries in this option. Yep. And 3 in the back, 1 in the front for better weight distribution. Really, really smart and pragmatic boxing or in the crate that it's in, so you can easily service it or replace it if you need to in the back. And we can go take a look and walk around it as well. But this actually is meant to almost be a do-it-yourself type of option.
Including the charger, inverter, like basically the whole system is there for. That's amazing, because there's only a few aftermarket companies that are offering a complete holistic solution to swapping. For the most part, you've had to find a motor supplier, an inverter supplier, a charger supplier, a different battery controller supplier, and then you have to put all those together. Then sometimes you have to have software to manage all that stuff. So having it all in one box.
They don't have the resources that MOPAR does.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is it's an amazing option for somebody that wants to explore that path in repowering something.
And the beautiful thing about this, if we do it right, when we ultimately get to market, because there's a lot of goofy things you don't think about. Safety.
Yeah.
We have to think about safety and how are we going to distribute this, right? Is it going to be kind of like a direct connection or I don't know yet. Those are still some things we have to work out. Pricing structure, we need to be competitive. But what I love about this is that just based on the pragmatism, the way the packaging comes, this could be a do-it-yourself conceptually, a do-it-yourself type of project. But it can also be applied to obviously a vintage or a classic model, or it could be applied to a modern vehicle as well. It's all about choice. And it may not be for everybody, but that's why we love SEMA. By the way, this is our
Koval for president.
Mike.
No, this is our playground. This is our Super Bowl. This is our sandbox. Love being here, guys. This is great.
Well, take us around. Let's take us to whatever you.
We have not moved. We have not moved, everybody.
Well, I've been chasing you with the mic. So.
Yeah. Well, should we go? Want to go start in front?
All right, we are walking through the throngs of people. Now, what are we seeing on the left here? Are these people racing? Is it virtual racing?
That's exactly right. So this is one of our most popular attractions. The Dodge simulators. I don't think this line ever ends. I think people just stay here all night. But you know what?
Are you going to supply Army cots so they can spend the evening?
Well, surprisingly, those seats go all the way back. They fold flat. No, I'm just kidding. But look, we're 15,000 square feet. We've got 13 total modified or concept vehicles here. And the one thing that our company, no matter who we've been a part of, whether it's Stellantis today or anybody in the past, is our design. Ralph and his team and Mark, look at this. This is just gorgeous. And so anyway, the simular, obviously the cars themselves are the show, but just having a little bit of fun, reminding ourselves what this is all about. But yeah, so as we go through what our intent was for this year's show was to show a little bit of variety. So as we talked about earlier, we've got this beautiful 67 GTX.
Should we go up there first?
Yeah, let's go up there and we'll walk around. But what's really interesting about this is that it's actually the original frame. There's obviously it's modified to modernize, but we've tried with a high degree of intent to keep this as original as possible, but also to modernize it in a way that made sense. Here, if we're looking, we can just start at the back. Kind of an unusual place to start, but this is the crate. So you've got 3 out of the 4 battery packs here in the back. Each battery pack,
fiber, high voltage, orange cabling.
Yep.
Obviously some thermal management going in there.
You got your cooling. This is actually very lightweight aluminum substrate.
So it's basically encased in like an aluminum cage with carbon fiber outer case for the battery pack, all together, super clean, really amazing. Fits in the trunk of this.
Big, fat orange cables for your power.
That's
and
exactly right. And
it's a piece of art here.
Well, the guys are they're great, right?
Yeah.
And they think of everything. So each pack is 230 pounds. With the structure itself, you're about 700 total. But like I said, for servicing and maintenance or replacement, ease of access, ease of service. We added on this particular version, we added a nice low-profile tail fin just to give it a little character. I think as any resto mod or classic car guy would appreciate, body-colored bumpers are all tapered and shaved and really kind of a low profile. On the inside, as we kind of go by the way, look at this color. We're calling this frostbite. So this frostbite, just an eye-catching color. So you've got the triple point or the tri-point connection for the seatbelts. We removed the center seat in the back, so you have a really interesting 2x2 formation. We've updated the instrument panel to include modern, because you don't need an RPM gauge, right? So we've got a 160 mile an hour analog. We've got it up to 100 miles on the track in Auburn Hills, and it still had some life. You may remember there used to be a floating Plymouth in the center of the steering wheel. We replaced that with an M, just kind of a tip of the cap. Replaced the steering wheel with a flat bottom version, just to give that more race inspired.
Gorgeous.
Yep. But really, here's, if you come around to the
Oh, here we go, up to the front. This is the magic.
Here's where it is. So this is, really designed to be installed just about on every. It's very well thought out.
Brake booster.
Yeah,
It looks like you have.
EDM.
Yep.
So your 250 kilowatt EDM. Yeah,
So
you're running about 330 horse altogether.
perfect.
Basically,
About 250
this is
miles
all
of range.
suspended in front of where the shock mounts would be.
Where the engine would be.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like going left to right, you've got a structure that is holding up. What component are we looking at? This is the inverter?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you remember we call it the waffle maker. This is actually the reason we did this was to pay homage to Hellcat.
Yeah, it feels like it's super.
That's what it is.
The way the grid is, yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what it is. And so the fourth battery pack just lies below that low profile radiator just below here. And again, for better weight distribution altogether.
It's a beautiful car.
Yeah. So we sit out here sometimes and I'll just listen to people walk by and the common response is, what the hell is that? Which I love.
Yeah.
And maybe after we give the walk around and explain everything that we're doing here, maybe it's not for everybody, but that's okay. This is our lab. I want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. And guess what? We go back, we take this stuff seriously, whether it's on this or any of our performance-based accessories, and we decide if we're going to bring this to market or if we're going to adapt or modify or whatever. But this is just a little bit of a
little hint at what could be.
I used to say what's old is new again, or the farther back you look, the farther forward you're likely to see. But the guys just did a great job this year. They knocked it out of the park. So let's keep going.
Okay. Look at the RHO.
Yes, please.
So once again, this one's near and dear to my heart. Obviously, a descendant of the Ram 1500 TRX. This is the RHO, which stands for high output, Ram high output. But the bones,
which is what we guessed it stood for on the podcast, when nobody would say what it stood for.
Yeah, but this power plant puts out 541 horse, 520 pound-feet of torque, most horsepower in the segment for a 6. And by the way, between the change out in the engine and the Torque Flight 8-speed, we're 150 pounds lighter than the outgoing. So it's a little more.
Reviews from journalists have said how much more balanced it feels, especially on the nose.
A little more agile, a little more svelte.
We've seen them catching air.
Yeah.
Big air.
Well, when we launched TRX, we couldn't do that. The lawyers got in our way a little bit.
Is that true?
Yeah, I had to put some sand in the way and make it look like it wasn't 6 feet off the ground, because we sent it pretty good out at Wild West. Man, that was fun. That was fun.
And that place doesn't exist anymore.
No, I know. It wasn't that great. Yeah.
So the footage that I saw of the RHO was like, it looked like it was more than 6 feet off the ground. It was getting air.
Yeah. No, those. I don't know what the table was at that one, but at Wild West, we were coming around.
We were way off the ground at Wild West.
The driver I had, he's okay, Mike. Approach the turn slowly. No more than 55. I'm like, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
So I just smash it right. He's like, dude, you got to slow down. We're heading down. It's like 55, 60, 65, 70. He's like, dude, you got to slow. Holy. And he just goes and he grabs the handle and we sent it.
Yeah.
I don't know how far.
It's got the Bilstein Blackhawk E-squares that have the JCOs in the front.
Dude, it was so plush. It was so. I must have landed 30 feet down the table, and I thought this guy. I don't know. He wouldn't talk to me anymore. But It was such a blast. But just to show you, honestly, as cool as this vehicle is, and you can see, I mean, look at this heroic image. I mean, you know well that the real engineering, the story behind this is what a marvel it is from a chassis and a suspension system. But look, hey, this interpretation again. I mean, this is Mopar's show. We have decked this out with our high-profile blue decals offset against the matte black, just giving it a really striking contrast. I mean, this looks menacing.
I'm digging the American flags behind the Ram.
Always
logo.
in motion. Always in motion. But you can see this is heavily accessorized, for whether it's the side steps, you got the Mopar Ram bar, you've got twin 12-inch Tyree LED light systems for off-roading. You've got the
accessory rail.
Yes. Oh,
that's
I forgot about that.
Pretty big deal.
Now, can I retrofit the accessory rail into my TRX or no?
Yes. Yeah. I think it's completely modular. And by the way, 100% from our customers, from your listeners. 100%.
Awesome.
That was. And so whether you want to tape the trail or whatever, that's. Yep. And by the way, the wings or the arms, you can hold any standard phone. I think it goes all the way out to like an iPad type of.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow.
One thing before I go. Now this wasn't intended. And I can't. I wish I could show you.
The
You got to
blue?
show the footage. The blue. But this is a throwback to the '90s image from when the Ram 1500. Actually, back then it was a Dodge Ram, of course, was pulling the Viper GTS on the trailer. And so what's old is new again. Little tip of the cap to the past. Just screams nostalgia. How can you not fall in love with this color scheme? That just magnetic blue and the dual white stripes. I mean, it just takes you back to a better place. And so, look, now I've got the Ram 1500 DT BEV, which will be out very, very soon. This is actually the same one we launched in New York a couple of years ago. And then that's the Dodge Charger Banshee concept. And you just look at that, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Ralph did a great job.
And by the way, so as I was sharing with you earlier, I have one of these in my drive. Now I have a Scat, I don't have a Banshee. So, but you're 675 equivalent. I mean, white knuckle acceleration. I'm 0 to 60 sub 3.
Jeez.
I mean, it just throws you back. Yeah. Absolute blast to drive.
Does yours have the exhaust sound to it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
No, okay, so is Mopar going to make that even more aggressive for somebody who wants their EV to have that, or is that something you guys are exploring?
Well, we are exploring it because we're looking at it for other applications. So the answer overall and in general is we are. What else can we do with it?
The biggest hit on EV is you lose that visceral outside of the speed.
So when you get in this, there are different settings. Yeah. So the Fretsonic, actually, it's not just one or other. You can obviously have it silent, of course, that's the default mode. But then when you go drag or race or you go the different modes, you get a different throttle note. In air quotes through the phone. But I got to tell you, now it's not for everybody. Yeah. I know, I get it. It's kind of goofy. I like it.
But it's also somewhat mechanical too, right?
Yeah,
it's not all digital.
I was going to ask you, is there something like a rumble maker under the seat, like some movie theaters would have?
It looks like, I've actually seen the unit itself. We had a demo unit. It looks like a big speaker crate. And it's tucked just below the trunk itself. So all of the guts are in there. It's a huge, big amp, big subwoofer. But I think it's cool.
So you're feeling it?
I like it. I like it. It's loud as hell too. I got to tell you, I even when I was driving down my street, I mean, I got a little nervous. I had to come off a drag pack and go into like race mode just to calm it down a little bit. But I mean, obviously, you see this innovative design, even just for aero and flow through. I mean, it just. The guys
I don't know how to describe the nose of the car, where you've got a flow through.
It's just like a supercar that has the front of the car has a airflow path that goes over the hood, so it's kind of inset.
But anyway, just ingenious design, and it just gives the. By the way, so we're obviously starting with the BEV version, right? And we've announced some performance stats on things like Scat Pack. We have not announced Banshee yet, so stay tuned. Right. That one may be scary. And then we also have an IC version. Back to options, guys.
Yeah, right.
Let me take you back to that point. Yeah. So I think sometime next summer, I think, but certainly within 2025 calendar year, we'll have an ICE version of this as well. So again, about options.
Something for everybody. All hope is not lost.
So speaking of something for everybody, here's something for the astronauts
over here.
And people who. So to be honest with you, I think the guys were at the Red Ox in Auburn Hills having a cocktail when they came up with this one. But because it's so crazy. This is based off the Power Wagon, which we know in terms of capability, there's nothing more capable than the Ram 2500 Power Wagon. It's obviously the king. But what we've done here is we have souped this one up big time. So you've got 35 black and anthracite alpha wheels. You've got a Mopar Sport hood.
I see that. Yeah, it bubbles up in the center, which looks really aggressive.
Yeah, and this. I mean, so we're calling this a stealth sand with a 3D topographical inlay on the hood scoop, just to give it a different...
So this is paint. This is not a wrap.
I think this for the show, because it's a concept, I think is a wrap.
Okay.
But I actually would want to confirm, this might be paint. Yeah, we know for all of your listeners, obviously, a lot of the concepts are
that's
just
wrap.
that.
Hold on.
It is right. You see it?
Right there. There's wrap.
Yeah. So, but I just, if we back up a little bit, because I really want you to take in the image of this front end and how menacing this looks.
This grille has been not controversial, but like we want to like it, and it's interesting. It's very geometric, but from the front, it does. This is the first time I'm standing in front of it like this.
I like it. Look,
how do you feel about it?
Let me just tell you. Honestly, I think that is so bold and aggressive. I feel like it wants to steal your soul. I mean, and by the way, it's like you pulled up your pants a little bit. The eye line is raised just a touch. I mean, look at how badass. We see the quad lighting sitting on top of each other. You got fogs.
Yeah,
you got your high impact orange.
Freeway.
No. Well, then you've got three. You got three Tyree 12-inch LED light systems across that aluminum rack up top. So, I mean, you have this heroic light signature. I don't think you want it to be anywhere near you, behind you, in front of you, on top of you, or anywhere else. Yeah, obviously, again, because this is MOPAR show, tons of MOPAR accessories. Obviously, the tubes. For the first time ever, we have the MOPAR, the Omega M on the seat back.
Really digging that.
Yeah. So those are new cat skins. We have the accessory link now. I don't happen to the arm. The arm may have found a new home. That happens at these shows. But so all aluminum rack on top with integrated high impact orange. You know Ralph. You know the guys.
Yeah.
I mean every detail has a purpose, and you'll see the high impact orange touches throughout the vehicle from front to back, including on the Leitner designed storage kit. So you can fit 8 of these storage kits on the 4 on each side.
Are good friends with Bernard. We do a lot with him. Yeah.
So this obviously looks great, and it gives our customers the opportunity to not use the bed. Yeah. Which then, if you come around here, I can show you what we did for this year's show.
We've got a bed slide rolling out.
Yep. So you got roughly 1,500 of payload, 1,500 pounds of distributed payload capacity. So really nice. Obviously for folks who use this off-road, or for me who have kids in sports and soccer, and when my stuff flies to the front of the bed, I get really upset. So this is a really cool feature, really cool option.
I had something similar, and I literally used it for groceries. I mean, yeah.
You wouldn't, right?
If it's better, it's better, right?
Yeah. It's better. It solves a real-world problem. Your kid's stuff flying to the front of the truck. That's a real-world problem. And obviously, we have the MOPAR bed step underneath as well.
Okay, we're hopping in.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is, as you can see, obviously, what we've done here, just, again, the high-impact orange flavor you see around the speaker grills.
The cool thing about this, though, is if you look at it, it's got the transfer case lever, the manual one, and that's basically a bench seat.
As we think about how we prepared for the show, it was really about kind of hitting both ends of the spectrum here. Obviously, we have the Resto Mod, which is pure BEV, and then we just take, and this is what MOPAR does. We bring innovative, cool accessories to enhance the customer experience, not only on Ram. Obviously, we know Ram 1500, heavy duty a little bit. Gladiator and Wrangler are the most accessorized vehicles in our portfolio, so we spend a lot of time and attention on those. But obviously, just a fantastic interpretation of this concept. So,
all right, one more spot on the tour.
Okay, I forgot. We spent so much time on this side of the floor. I've got to go to the other side of the house here, where we have all the Easter Jeep Safari vehicles. So you've seen the Easter Jeep Safari vehicles themselves, but what we did was we added. This is a little bit, remember, this is our laboratory, so we're testing things, and we want to get feedback from our consumers. So what one of our bright, young entrepreneurs have done, they have designed, and already we've gotten the patents for, a lighting system that's sitting on top, and actually Cole's here.
What in the world is that?
My good friend. Let me bring in my good friend Cole. So this is.
What's happening, Cole?
How you guys doing? Nice to meet you guys.
Fantastic. Yeah. Lightning and Holman Truck Show podcast.
Good to hear from you guys. Yeah. What are you guys interested in? What do you want to talk about?
We're going to learn about your new lighting system.
Absolutely. About the lighting. So basically, it's an A-pillar mounted LED light bar, except for the outer bars swivel and become floodlights for the side of the vehicle.
Absolutely.
That is freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
I've seen 10,000 light. I was here in 2010 when having 47 light bars on a SEMA vehicle was a thing, and nobody figured this out in that time except for you. So congrats.
Thank you. Exactly. That's what we're trying to solve here too. So one system would get you lighting all around the vehicle with one purchase, right?
That's amazing.
Thank you guys. So we've got 2 patents that cover this light bar too. It covers the entire system We've also ran the wiring that goes in through the internal mechanism, so there's no exposed wiring that'll hide from you.
And you tie that into the aux switches and all that?
Exactly. So the entire kit would come with the MOPAR integrated aux switches. So you have 2 switches, one that controls the center light, one for the outer. So the goal is so if you're wheeling and someone's in front of you, you can actually open up the outer lights and turn off the center, and you're not blinding the guy in front of you with the normal 50-inch light bars.
That's awesome.
And then another cool thing, too, is you can open those light bars up, flip the hood back, and you can work underneath the engine. If you got limited light, you're on the trail and somewhere and you're stuck, you're able to do that as well.
How do we
as a Jeep owner, I'm looking at this going, well, how did nobody think about this already? I mean,
So Sean, explain how they're mounted, because I think they're going to have...
It's an 8-pillar mounting system it's got a frame that basically goes over the windshield frame, and then the light bar, as you would imagine, is a LED light bar across the top of the windshield, except for it's split into thirds, and the outer thirds can swivel and rotate so that it can light up.
Kind of like a barn door.
Yeah.
Effect, yeah.
Right. There's no tear up to the vehicle as well, so it does mount to those 4 bolts on the 8-pillar on either side, and it just touches down to the windshield. So you'll still be able to remove the light bars if you had to, and you can drop your windshield. It's not going to stop you for anything there or destroy the vehicle.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well done.
We've already got some feedback that somebody wants a pair of those for the boat.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah, it makes
Driving down
sense.
the boat ramp and leaving your vehicle in the back, you
Makes
can actually
sense.
move it when you're going down there. Yeah.
Another innovative first from our friends, not only at Stellantis more broadly, but Jeep specifically. So very, very cool. No, guys, hey, thanks a lot. Really appreciate, obviously, all the support. Love being here. This is our Super Bowl, like I said, so hope you enjoy.
Well, thanks for coming back on the Truck Show Podcast.
Mike Koval for president.
2028.
Yeah.
This one just got decided.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Homan and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.